Best-selling author and American psychologist Mary Pfeiffer said this: "We live in a world filled with language. Language imparts identity, meaning, and perspective to our human community. Writers are either polluters or part of the cleanup team. Just as the language of power and greed has the potential to destroy us, the language of reason and empathy has the power to save us. Writers can inspire a kinder, fairer, more beautiful world, or invite selfishness, stereotyping, and violence. Writers can unite people or divide them." In this book show podcast, host, confidence coach Susan Axelrod asks women authors a simple question: which kind of writer are you? She invites each guest to step into the confidence zone to proclaim how her book can inspire. If you are seeking inspiration to create your legacy, take out your pen and pad. Your book, My Time, starts now. Hello, friends. Welcome to a very special episode of your book, My Time, the KSMG Book Show. I'm Susan Axelrod, your host. I am delighted that we will be talking about one of my favorite topics today, soul. In my work, I infuse soul intelligence into business. Yes, I said I infuse soul intelligence into business. And I do what I call soul connection healing. Can you see I'm already ready with my pen here and my pad? Because I know that I'm going to be learning so much today from our author, Cate Schultz. Now, usually I just read the title, but today I want to do this. This beautiful piece of artwork is Cate's book. And I want to tell you, this book called Soul Primer, Building Blocks of the Soul. I got this book because my friend Cornelia Stephanie did the same to me. She said, "Susan, look at this beautiful book." And so many of us are visual, and what we see, we absorb and feel, integrate first. And that's what happened. But wait till you get the book, friends. It's so beautiful. And what I love most about, because I'm a business confidence coach, is that it's a system. So I could go on and on about this myself, how much I've learned, but instead I'm delighted to welcome the author, Cate Schultz, to our book show today. Cate, thank you for being here. It's so good to see you, and it's so good to know you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Susan. It's awesome to be here. I'm excited to share more. I'm always excited to share more about my book.
Cate and I are both leading practitioners in the KS Media Group app. That's how I met Cate. That's how I know Cate. She and I are both serious about the work that we do. So we show up for this weekly group, and that's how we get to know each other. And that creates, I call that energy coming together to create synergy. Cate, this is so synergistic for me. So I want to ask you the first question that is so important. And remind you, we only have 30 minutes for our podcast today. And that is, what is the story behind the story of this beautiful, beautiful book?
Well, okay, I'll try to talk fast. So I, through my life, have been an observer of humanity for a lot of different reasons. I grew up in a very large family, and I had a lot of challenges myself in life. And but I observed how many people really struggle and suffer. And over the years, it became clear to me that they didn't need to struggle and suffer if they only had the tools to live a better life. So I thought, well, I'm going to help the world. It really became important to me to help empower people. So I became a life coach, on top of doing a lot of other things in my life. And as a life coach, I would help people transform their lives. And they would come to me with problems. And of course I can help them fix their problems, give them some tip to, get along with their kids or whatever. But invariably, in every single case, the client had a lack of underlying basic skills. And if they had had those underlying basic skills, they wouldn't be presenting with problems in their life. Invariably, guys, no matter what they came to me with. So, I started like sort of adding them up. Well, people need to practice, empathy. They need to be fearless. So many people deal with fears. They need to, be showing gratitude. I mean, I worked with a guy, he was a billionaire, and he came to me with some issues and stuff. And the first thing I assigned him was to keep a gratitude journal. And years later, he told me, you know what, you really helped me so much. And that gratitude journal was such a big deal. I mean, he's a billionaire. You think he'd have a lot to be grateful for, right? But anyway, so I started sort of adding up the skills that people were lacking. And I thought, there's got to be a way to reach more people to teach them these skills. And that was sort of the genesis of this book.
So much to say. I want to let people know who are watching the video of this podcast that I keep looking down because I keep opening the book to the different letters. So F is for fearlessness. And of course,
Yeah.
I talk about being fearless as well. Cate, a few things here. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we can talk. Do you want to just, so readers know kind of what we're referring to, some of the letters?
Okay, hold on that for 1 second.
Okay.
I want to share something that I do say frequently, and I want to share it now because of something that you just said. The reason I created this book show is to give people here now voice and platform to share. My life was transformed by hearing others speak, voice, and share on different kinds of platforms. Mm-hmm. And so, Cate, you're not the first person ever to tell someone or suggest a gratitude journal, right? However, for that person at that time, that individual human heard that from you. Right. And that is absolutely why we are here on this book show talking with our listeners today. Do you see what I'm saying there, Cate?
Yeah, for sure. But that's just one of the skills, So anyway, so I guess, when I started looking at life coaching and knowing that I was changing lives, and then I started to envision, well, how would it look if the whole world were practicing, had transformed lives and were practicing these skills? And I started, getting excited about that. And then I thought, how am I ever going to reach that many people, coaching one-on-one? So what can I do? How can I make it easy and accessible for people to learn these skills in a really affordable, at-home sort of way? You don't have to, pay a fortune. You don't have to go to therapists for 30 years. I mean, I actually jokingly said when I first put this out, as a press release, I put at the top of it, how to leave your therapist in 26 ways to leave your therapist.
Right. And now,
but I don't want.
And now that does bring us to the system that you created in the book, because what you did was you did it as easy as ABC.
Yeah.
And so please share with us the system that you created in the book.
Yes. So what I realized I could make an ABC book out of this, which is what I did. So for each letter of the alphabet, there is a concept assigned to that letter. And you read one page of text on that letter. So for example, A is for abundance. B is for beauty. Everybody wants abundance. Who doesn't want abundance, right? B is for beauty, which is about seeing beauty in everyone that you meet. I mean, imagine if everybody saw beauty in people that they meet instead of, division and racism and hate and anger and whatever, So C is for creativity, because creativity is a doorway to the soul. And it goes on and on throughout the alphabet. And so what you do is you read one page of text on Sunday, and then there's an exercise at the bottom of the page. You practice that exercise for 1 week. And there's a couple affirmations that get you started, one that helps you carry it on to the following weeks. So it's a 26-week program because there's 26 letters of the alphabet, but it's super easy. It's just, you leave it open on your breakfast table or whatever. And I have amazing stories. I have one guy who did just that. He left the book open on his breakfast table. And he told me that there's a little bit of poetry in here. He told me that the last 2 lines of this poem on D is for divinity, caused him to go and take the risk to start a business that he was fearful about because he didn't know if it would succeed. And it's $1 million business. It was one of the top Kickstarter campaigns of all time.
Mm.
So, like you said, Susan, it's like one thing will speak to one person, one to another, but there's so many gems in this book that just kind of you get by osmosis by leaving it open on your table.
So I just want to say, friends, listen up, tune in, pay attention. The soul sometimes is very, like esoteric and ethereal. And some people don't know if they have soul. Some people don't feel soul connection. A lot of people don't know what I mean when I talk about soul connection. My old me didn't either. That's why my second book is called Dear Younger Self. And so what I really love so much about what you're doing here, Cate, is that you really did create an easy system, creating a habit. I don't know, 20 days for a habit, 30 days for a habit. Some people say 10 days. We're in an alphabet's worth of creating habit of what I call coming to conscious awareness.
Yeah.
And that is why this book is so of value. Right now, Cate, we need things to be simple. I coach all my business clients, please stop doing that, stop doing that, stop doing that, and just do this. Yeah. Because everybody kind of really needs things to be simple and easy. So the second question that I ask is, why is your book worth my time? I'm answering it myself because you've created a system.
Well, yes. But so to sort of give another example. So let's say you were tasked with building a house that you had to live in for the rest of your life. So wouldn't it be handy to have the skills to make that house really sound so that you didn't have problems with it? Wouldn't it be handy to know how to saw wood and hang a window and install plumbing and all that stuff? Of course. That's why I don't build a house, because I don't have those skills. So, but what if you're tasked with building a life that you have to live in for the rest of your life? Guess what? You're tasked with building a life that you have to live in for the rest of your life. So wouldn't it be handy to have the skills to create a life that didn't have problems, so you're not always calling for help? So it's not, I mean, there's nothing fluffy about it. There's nothing woo-woo about the soul or whatever. It's about the skills of building a life that's healthy. And yes, we call it, supporting your soul in a healthy way.
Absolutely. Another fun thing, I assume you've thought of it, but I wanted to let you know, is I do love numerology, color psychology, and letters. Yeah. And so I looked up S, of course, right away, S for Susan.
Yeah.
Right. And again, when there's soul synergy, it kicks right into action. So S in the book is for service.
Yes.
And the poem says, in giving, I receive. In loving, I am loved. In serving, I am blessed. Everything I send out comes back to me multiplied. This is actually from the Talmud, Cate. And I have spent my life in service.
I thought I just made that up. Is it actually?
You're in good company. You're in good company. I have spent my life in service. My entire career is fundraising, in philanthropy, in helping others give back. And so I love, of course, it's no coincidence, I love the synergy of that. So that's another fun thing that I want to encourage people to understand how they can use this book with younger people. Now, Cate, tell us the example of someone who's using it with a group of younger women, I think you said.
Yes. So, first of all, a number of people have told me that they're going through the book with their children. Like they'll read little bits of it at night before they go to bed. So how beautiful is that we're teaching our children empathy. We're teaching our children, kindness and stuff. I mean, it's not generally the stuff that's taught in schools. But what I really, my goal, my long-term goal for this book, I mean, of course, it was written to help individuals on a micro level, to help individuals live a better life. But on a macro level, I can see how it could actually transform the world if it were multiplied. Because if all of us were living these skills, again, it would be a different world. So I led a group through a group of women through the book, and some of them have gone off and started their own group. So there was one gal, she just sent me a message. She formed a group of young women in their early 20s, and she's, my age. And they are going through the group. And she told me, she said, oh my gosh, this group is so amazing. It is stretching and blessing me in so many wonderful new ways. So, again, it's like you said, Susan, it's the service. I mean, it's one thing to worry about me and take care of me and make sure that I'm in good order and my soul's in good shape. And then we go out and we serve others and bring them along with us. So it's a big vision.
Typing in, it is stretching me and blessing me in so many ways. I love that. I don't know what more I could want from my book. So I definitely, we're already bumped into that third question, which is, what do you want people to do after reading your book? I love this idea of reading circles, book circles, but I especially love, and I'm calling it in and I'm shouting it out, that anybody who gets a hold of this book, shares it with anybody who's 1 minute younger than themselves. I call them our youngers. In my case, I do speak mostly to women, so I call them our younger sisters. And boy, they desperately need the help. And Cate, when I was in those younger days, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 25 years ago, right? It's hard to believe, but I didn't have tools like this.
No,
my journey started between 25 to 20 years ago. And, the movement of soul consciousness was coming into mainstream at that time. But I really want to say again, how simple it is to look at this beautiful book. I just read that beautiful, beautiful piece, that learning piece about in giving, I receive. L is for letting go. The daily reminder. I am not in control of anything except the energy I bring to a situation. Cate, every week in my own personal group that I have for women in business, I say thank you for the energy that you bring to this room. I didn't make that up. I've learned that. It's important.
Yeah, there's so many different concepts in here. And honestly, it was hard to choose, really, which is why I'm writing book 2. So it's Soul Primer, Building Blocks of the Soul. But the second book is going to be Soul Primer, Becoming a Spiritual Warrior, which is kind of what we were just talking about, Susan, where we step out of ourselves, out of our comfort zone, and bring others along down this path. And so it's another way that people are doing this, and it's really astounded me because I had no idea. So first of all, this book was gifted to me from the universe. I mean, that's maybe a story for another time, but it was sort of dropped down to me. And I had no idea what I had on my hands. And then I realized as people started buying multiples of it, I have people that I don't know, there's many people that have bought well over a dozen. I have one gal who bought over 30. And one gal who bought, I don't know, by this time, maybe she's bought 28, and she gives them to everybody. She gives them to her neighbors. She gives them to her sisters, to her best friends, total strangers. Oh, I have to tell you one story about a total stranger, because this just blows me away. So my book is carried in coffee shops a lot of times, and it does really well there. Because again, these are not the people that are going to the spiritual section of the bookstore. These are trying to get by, and maybe a cup of coffee will help them. But anyway, so a guy walked in, and he was a guy that had been having some problems and stuff. The owner was telling me, and she'd known him for a long time. And he bought his coffee and he walked to the door, and he went back. He turned around. She watched him. He turned around and he picked up one of my books, and he went up to the counter, and he said, I was going to go buy a bottle, but decided to buy a book instead. He'd struggled with alcoholism. I mean, I started crying, literally.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So this book is a life raft for humanity. And so if you get it and you love it, give one to someone else, honestly, I'm not in it to make money. I welcome the abundance of the universe, but I give away a lot of these books,
You
so
gave it away to me.
yes, I
The first
did.
thing I
Yeah,
did, I invited Kate
did you?
on
Yeah, you bought 2 more and gave them to your sisters.
to my
So
two sisters. That's right. I
beautiful.
invited Kate on the book show, and like a week later, I get this most beautiful hardcover book in the mail, and I went and ordered it for both of my sisters, Laura and Anne.
Hey,
And I didn't get them for my two daughters yet, but I will be doing that as well. I want to say the book is so beautiful. There's narrative in the beginning. There's place for notes. Every page, honestly, there's resource pages, affirmations, beautiful artwork. Honestly, I'm not getting paid to sell books. I'm not getting any affiliate fee or
I haven't
anything like
heard
that.
yet. I'm not
I'm
paying it.
yeah, I'm just wanting people to
Yeah,
have a resource to really serve their soul, which is so vitally needed at this time.
yeah.
And so, Kate, I do want to invite you to share a little bit now about your business background. You haven't always been a soul practitioner. Well, you may have been a private soul practitioner,
Yeah.
but you've been in business. Will you share that with us a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, I, I came from a pretty poor family, so I basically put myself through college. I was a French teacher for a while. After a while, I decided to do something else, so I, ended up getting into a medical equipment business and owned that for 20 years, actually, multi-million dollar, business. I was president, ran the company. And then I went from that, I decided I wanted to do something that was a little more fun. And so I started up an FAA flight school and an air taxi business, and I got my instrument and commercial licenses in the process, and that was super fun. And then decided I wanted to, well, I learned in the flight school how much I loved watching particularly women be empowered by getting behind the yoke of an airplane and feeling in
Mhm.
control of their destiny. So I decided I wanted to focus again on my writing that I'd always loved. So I became a writer and became a life coach, and that's what brought me to this point.
That's
So
just the short version of the story,
I
friends. The
know.
reason I asked you that, Kate, is who are soul practitioners? Who are
Mm.
soul healers? Who are the people? Are they them? Are they out there? Are they other
Oh,
people who have that? No, they're not, Kate,
oh,
are they?
I love that question, and it's not like we even planned any of this.
We
But I
did
love
not.
that question. So I have a group that I meet with once a month called Soul Goddesses. We have the Soul Goddess sessions, and one of the gals asked me recently. She's in the group. She said, "How do you know if you're on a spiritual journey?" And I said, "If you're alive, you're on a spiritual journey." And so, really, any of us who are alive are on a spiritual journey, whether we know it or not. And in fact, if we're alive, we have a mission. We have a reason for being here. So, life gets in the way, it gets really busy, and we just don't have time to think about this stuff, but it's still true. Everyone listening to this is on a spiritual journey
Yeah,
and
that's
soul journey. Yeah.
yeah. That's absolutely true. And again, Kate, I'm really like slowing down my cadence. I'm being very intentional with my words. I'm calling in the consciousness of people who are listening today, perhaps viewing or watching or listening to this in the future, because this is you. It can be you. You already heard Kate mention addiction. We could start talking about overwhelm and anxiety and
Depression and
physical
fear.
disabilities, depression, fears, everything else. All those things are designed to pull us out of the soul space that we want to be in and we truly are naturally in. I'm not saying it's easy. I've been on my own soul journey. Kate has too. If you're lucky enough to meet Kate personally and have a longer opportunity to hear her speak, you're going to hear about a personal journey that was not easy. And Kate, when you talk about your success in business and this and that, and you have a novel published, and now you have this book, you're creating an entire movement. Other people might look at you or listen to you and be like, oh, well, that's her, not me. but there was a time. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so yes, no, for sure, and so, I mean, I grew up I was the 8th of 12 children, and my, father was very, authoritarian, and my mother was very traditional, acquiescing to everything that he said. So, I mean, we didn't have a lot of opportunity in life. Honestly, I started working when I was 12. I had a horrible job. I worked full-time through high school. I worked full-time through college. I mean, I worked my A off.
Mhm.
Where I am, and so I really, from a very early age, had a vision for what life could be, for how I could and I transformed myself, like, in my careers over and over and over again, but it started when I was a child, and I realized, there's more than this. But I didn't have it's not like I had a silver spoon or a step up at all. I had to work my
or or even role modeling or education
No,
in,
no,
in
none of
this
my
area.
none of my I'm the only one who went to college, of 12 kids.
Oh, I
So
did. That's
so
not what I meant just now. That I didn't know that. What I meant was education in soul work. But
Oh,
now
yeah,
you've shared something
yeah.
important with us as well.
Right, so the thing is, it's not like, "Oh, yeah, sure, that's good for you, but it wouldn't work for me." It would work for everybody. Every single one of us can rise above the suffering and the difficulty of life. I mean, they say there's a well-known saying that says, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional." Yes, we all have challenges. Yes, we all have pains and we have difficulties, but it depends on how you deal with them and approach them and receive them, for how much suffering you have. I don't suffer. I really don't suffer because I have a method for handling my life that basically takes care of suffering. Do I have hard times? Yeah. Do I have challenges? Yeah. Do I have pain? Yeah. Do people die in my life too? Yeah, they do.
Mhm.
But I
Would you?
have figured out a way to navigate these things as more of a neutral observer,
Mm.
getting so engaged that it takes over my life.
So much good stuff here. We just have a few more minutes, but again, I wanted to say what's fun about this book actually is while we're talking, you used the word grounded. And I said, "Ooh, grounded is one of my fave words." And I said, "Oh, what does she have for G?" Well, she has gratitude. And so, gratitude, how do you choose between gratitude and
Oh, wait, oh, wait. I know because I had to choose the different letters and it was difficult and I had to
I
juggle.
know.
Were you gonna go to R?
No,
R?
go ahead. What's
R
R?
is R is for rooted, and
Oh,
rooted, so that's where we talk about being grounded, like a
oh,
tree rooted with our root chakra. We ground ourselves so that we have stability and we don't have fear and
oh
we
my
feel
gosh.
safe.
Teaser, teaser. The picture for Rooted is gorgeous. Most people will be listening to this podcast. I think fewer will be watching it. So I'm not going to hold up. I'm just going to be like,
Okay.
get this book so you can see the gorgeous piece of artwork for the word rooted. Another thing that came up for me is the word healed. There's so much healing that goes on, in this journey, in the system and the method. And so
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, did she have healed for the word H?" No, she has hope. Quell not the bubbles that rise within you. Tether them like balloons and ride them to the sky until you can see beyond the horizon. Cate Schultz. Cate, I'm just like beyond about this. Honestly, I'm so
Uh,
excited for the habits that are being created. I want to tell everyone that you will learn more about this in the KS Media Group app. Go to your Play Store, download it, sign up, and you're going to have more opportunity to connect with Cate Schultz. I honestly, again, I'm not, I should be a salesperson for you, Cate. Buy this
we
book.
should.
It's such a no-brainer for your soul to be soothed. Cate, thank you so much. Where else can we find you?
Okay, my website is, kateschultzauthor.com, and, you can read some of my other articles on Medium if you can find me on there, and you know what? Anybody can email me, all right? Email me at Kate, with a C, Catej Schultz, Schultz @gmail.com. I always respond.
Love it. And also, we already have your links in the comments
Oh, good.
to promote the podcast, and we'll be sure to share
Yeah.
that information.
Yeah, and on Facebook and LinkedIn, I'm on every, YouTube and whatever. And if
Good.
anybody's really like, I'm into this. Oh, the other thing I have to say is that I actually give for free because this is so important to me. This is so in my heart to share with the world and make the world a better place. When you buy for the price of one book, you can actually get supporting emails every week. So you open you on Sunday, you turn your page to E is for empathy. And then you'll get a couple emails throughout the week to enhance and deepen the knowledge even more. So, I mean, it's like
What
gold.
is it? It's a system, friends. It's a system. It's a method that you can use to raise your own soul consciousness. Cate, thank you so much for spending time today. Thank you for all that you've given us, the world, the universe, and please continue in the greatest success. And we wish you the very best.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to be here. Thank you all.
And I'll look forward to seeing you soon, Cate.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.